Hello Pisces, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross watcher, just know this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right. Pisces, we're going to jump on in looking at your side, their side, and the energy in between the connection with Oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with Tarot as we progress. So let's first, Pisces, start with your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Divine timing. So it appears as if divine timing is at work in your love life. You have redacted here and you have separation. So you and the person that you are dealing with, or the person that this reading is about for you, you guys are currently dealing with a separation of some sort. Now, for some of you, I feel like it's like a full-blown separation. For others, I feel like this is more of like an emotional distance or a disconnection of some sort. This redacted card is this energy of not having like the full picture. It's almost as if, there are certain things that haven't been revealed to you yet, either about the reason for the separation or what. I don't necessarily know, what this is, and we're going to dive more into this. But this divine timing card, I also kind of see is carrying this energy also of like divine protection, of trusting that the way that things are unfolding are in alignment with your highest good, even if you're not able to really understand that right now. But let's dive into this more, because I feel like I feel like there's a lot to this story. It's like, it's not all black and white. Like there's more to what's going on here. This person's energy toward you. Interesting. See, the separation card again is poking out right here. Sparks, dream come true, and then the underlying is unfinished business. So, I feel like this person sabotaged this connection in some way. I don't necessarily know how, because I feel like this person had, even maybe still has, really strong feelings for you, and saw this connection as having a lot of potential with this dream come true card. And I feel like this separation that happened was due to their behavior. Now, there's always three sides to every story, so there's, we're going to dive into understanding all of it. But this unfinished business card is almost like they see this connection as never having reached its full potential. And I feel like you see it that way too, but I also feel that it's like, well, you did these things. If you wouldn't have done these things, or if this wouldn't have happened, then we could have gotten there. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know, what happened or what's going on, but I definitely feel that there's, like I said, a lot to break down here. All right, truth in between the connection. Truth of the connection between Pisces and this person, please. Mirroring with patience. Okay, yeah. This connection is really complicated. I feel like both of you really seem to trigger wounding in the other person. So there's a lot of really intense emotions associated with this connection and how things have unfolded. And I feel like you, Pisces in particular, have been trying to be, or were for a very long time, trying to be very patient and very understanding in how things were unfolding here. But it just kind of feels like you got to a point where either it felt like you couldn't do it anymore, or it's almost like the opportunity for this connection was removed from you for some reason. I don't know. This is interesting, and I'm very, because I feel like the reasons for, why there is a separation or why things are the way that they are, like, it's not so black and white. And you might be like, no, it is black and white. It's like if they wouldn't have done these things or if it wouldn't have happened like this, but it's not actually as black and white as it seems. And I feel like understanding what's really going on here is going to help you, because ultimately I do feel Spirit is trying to move you in the direction of the love that you deserve. But let's dive into this more. Overall theme of this here for you, Pisces. It is worth it and allow for time and space. This connection's put you through a lot. But I feel like for a really long time, it felt very worth it. Or for like most of the connection, it felt very worth it because of the potential that you did see. I feel like the distance in between this connection right now is like necessary. Like I said, in regard to like divine timing, divine protection of some sort, I felt like I needed one more. Someone is unhappy. I mean, that's pretty clear. So I definitely feel that things are unfolding in alignment with your highest good. And it doesn't feel like that to you because I feel like you're dealing with a connection that is seemingly not working or that didn't work out. And it makes you feel maybe that you're being taken further away from the love that you deserve. But I do really feel like this is, it feels like, well, okay, I don't want to jump to conclusions. So I'm going to just jump in. Let's look at tarot. This will help give me a better understanding of what's going on here. Let's look, Pisces, at your side of this. You have redacted with divine timing. All right, Pisces energy toward this person. You have the King of Wands in reverse right out of the gate. You could be dealing with a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. You definitely don't have to be, because I see this as something else too. Okay. Page of Pentacles. Three of Cups in reverse. Nine of Wands. Whoa. Knight of Wands. Oh my, okay. Ten of Swords, and then the Two of Swords in reverse as kind of the overall. You poured a lot into this, Pisces, into this person and into this connection. And I feel like you did it very much out of love. I feel like you saw, so much good in this person, so much good in the connection. And I feel like you really invested in this for what you felt it could be. And I do feel in the beginning or, in like kind of the earlier days of the connection, things were good. And I feel like things were, in alignment with what it is that you wanted, in alignment with what it is that you deserved. But as time went on, something changed about the way that, I don't want to necessarily say the way you felt about the connection, because I feel like you continue to feel the same way about the connection, seeing the potential, having love for it. But it feels like it became harder and more challenging. Things were not as aligned with what it is that you deserve and desire. And with the Three of Cups in reverse, it's almost this energy of feeling, alone, or feeling very, very disconnected from this person, even if you were like married to them or like had been together with them for a while. And it feels like their effort and the way that they were showing up for this connection, changed a lot. So you started trying to fill in the gaps. And I feel like you started to try to show up more and be, put in more effort and love them harder and, invest in this, to the fullest of your extent, until eventually, I don't know what happened, but eventually there was, some sort of separation here, and you were left in this, Ten of Swords energy, this feeling of abandonment, this feeling of betrayal. It could just be like this feeling of just total exhaustion and like, I don't know what else to do. And I feel like, this connection, I do feel like it's done a number on you. And I ultimately feel like it's done a number on you in terms of your confidence, because I do, when we pour everything we have into somebody, into something, right, and it doesn't end up being what it is that we deserve, it's easy to start second guessing and questioning ourselves, to start looking at what we have to give and asking, like, is this just not enough? Is what I have to give not enough? Is, how much I poured into this person, into this connection, is it just not enough? And if it's not enough, will it ever be enough? Will I ever be able to have the love that I deserve and desire? And I think that the answer to that is absolutely yes. You will be able to have the love that you deserve and desire, but there is a purpose for this connection in your life and what it is trying to show you, trying to teach you, how it's trying to help elevate you. And I think that that's the one thing we do need to know, is that every relationship in our life is an assignment. It's here, every relationship that we have, romantic, familial, otherwise, they're here to teach us, to show us things about ourselves, to show us things about love or what love isn't. And I think that in this connection in particular, there was so much self-abandonment here, Pisces. Abandoning your needs, your desires, your maybe even like dreams or goals, or, what you were really looking for in a connection to make the connection work. And I think that self-abandonment, ended up feeling like it wasn't enough in the end. So you put so much on the line and poured so much into this person, self-abandoned so much, and then it seemingly wasn't enough, right? Because things never really shifted or changed or went back to how it was when things were good. And I think that has you in a really confused place, obviously. But I also feel that, like I said, there is more to this story, and I do feel like this connection is trying to help you in some way, not the connection itself, not this person, but like, we meet people for a reason, right? And I do feel like there is a deeper reason for you and this person having met. But I also feel that might be hard to understand right now. So I want to keep breaking it down, because I obviously don't have the full picture yet either, right? I'm just looking at your energy and the way that you're responding to theirs without actually seeing what's going on with their energy. So let's switch gears here and let's start to look at this person's energy toward you. Unfinished business with dream come true. Seven of Swords. It's like there are things about this person that you are not able to understand. And there's Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, because they have this Ten of Swords too. Page of Swords in reverse. Ooh, Five of Wands. Interesting. The Five of Wands is really... Okay. Okay, this is starting to make sense. I want two more here. This person's energy toward you, Pisces, and we'll break it down. Ace of Wands, Three of Wands in reverse, and then they have this Queen of Swords in reverse on the bottom. Okay. This person has buried a lot of hurt. I feel like this person has been through a lot in their life, maybe starting in childhood, maybe early adulthood, I don't really know. But that part of it doesn't really matter as much as the fact that it's there. I feel like with this Ten of Swords, they've been through a lot of hurt, and they have buried that hurt under almost like a mask, or like a... I mean, it's under the ego, right? But the ego protects you from having to feel the things you don't want to feel. So this person is very much operating from a place of survival. And because they're operating from a place of survival, their decisions that they make, the way that they show up, doesn't actually align with what they want. It aligns with what they feel is going to keep them the most safe, meaning that, lack of vulnerability, pushing you away, the self-sabotage, like all of these things keep them in a very familiar place of not having the love that they deserve and desire. I think that this Ten of Swords, I don't know where this stems from, but has really caused them to develop beliefs about what they're worthy of and deserving of in relationships, and ultimately what they're capable of having. So I feel that, one of the things we have to remember is that people don't treat us how they value us. People treat us how they value themselves, right? And hurt people. And it's never intentional, right? That doesn't mean it's excusable, but it's never intentional. I mean, sometimes it can be, yes, but that's not what this feels like. It feels like this person has been very hurt, and the things that they do are coming from a place of survival and self-protection. Now, with this Five of Wands, and this is why I said this Five of Wands is very interesting, it's almost like they're in this constant state of like being at war with themselves when it comes to what they desire and their behavior and their actions and how they ultimately show up. Because what they desire is to be the person who is, capable of loving you, capable of showing up in a healthy way, but their actions and their behaviors are very unhealthy, and honestly, I feel pretty borderline toxic. And I will say, like, I can kind of relate to similar energy to this, not necessarily exactly the same, but I talked about this a lot in my readings before, and I'm fine with being, open and honest about it, because I think that I know that I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't have gone through these things. But I used to be a very unhealthy person. I used to be very toxic in relationships before I met my husband, before I even learned to understand what healthy love looked like. I only had ever experienced unhealthy love, codependent love, and conditional love, and just very unhealthy. I had very unhealthy experiences in love. So I created very unhealthy experiences in love, because that's where I thrived. That's where I knew how to live. It's where I knew how to survive. It was my baseline for relationships was toxicity. So when I have a history of having hurt people in my past, and it was never intentional. It was always coming from a place of making selfish decisions, but not necessarily because I was trying to hurt other people, but because the only emotional experience I was taking into account in the moment was my own, because I was in pure survival mode. Now, again, not excusable, but understandable. And we start to understand why people do the things that they do, why they sabotage, why they show up in certain ways. We start to be able to disconnect their behavior from our worth and what's possible for us. Because when we fight so hard for people, when we fight to love them, when we fight for them to change, when we fight for them to see our value and show up different, what we're actually fighting for isn't for them to love us. We're fighting for them to love themselves enough to, show up in a healthy way so that they can receive the love that we have to give too, right? But I feel like this person has been through so much in their life. They're very closed off. Their heart's closed off. Their mind is very closed off. And I almost feel like, because with this Page of Swords in reverse, there's a couple of things happening here. I feel like, first of all, there is a lack of like awareness in this person's energy, meaning that they probably don't even know that this is happening, right? When we are so deep in survival mode and so deeply driven by our wounding, we don't have the awareness that this is happening. We are just reacting. We're responding to the way that we feel in the moment. We're making unhealthy choices because it's what we're used to, and we're doing it not because we're trying to hurt anybody again, but because this is just, it's how we're wired, right? So it's almost like this person is wired to make unhealthy relationships or unhealthy decisions in relationships. Second of all, because there is a lack of awareness around this all, you have no idea. I feel like they have hidden a lot of these things maybe from you, maybe not all of you, but I feel like when it comes to like how deeply they're hurting or how deeply certain things in their life have affected them, I feel like you are very unaware of it. Now, I'm not asking you to give this person empathy. I'm not asking you to, forgive them. That's not what this is about, okay? I feel like understanding this person's behavior and this person's decisions can help you understand why spirit has been divinely protecting you from this connection, or why this connection was removed from your life. I do feel as if this person has a lot of healing to do. They're not in a good place right now, and not necessarily in a place where if somebody isn't taking their own emotional experience into consideration, they're not going to be able to take yours into consideration. They're not thinking, what's in your best interest, because they're not even thinking what's in their best interest. They're just thinking, what can I do in this moment that, keeps me alive, or keeps me feeling safe, or keeps me not having to be vulnerable or in a place of control. And that right there, I mean, that's a very, very ego-driven life. And anybody who is ego-driven cannot deepen their connection to love, whether that's you or anybody. And so this person has a tendency to make decisions where they play it very safe in their relationships. And I think that that's why the person that they showed up in the beginning of this connection is the version of them that I do feel like they want to be. I feel like that's the version of them they could be, should they do the healing, should they do the work. But as things progressed and this Ten of Swords started, kind of coming to the surface, I feel like these past woundings and things of that nature, it almost as if their Ten of Swords turned into your Ten of Swords. The ways that they had been hurt became the ways that they hurt you. And I think that, understanding that, it doesn't, again, not excusing it, but understanding it can help you understand a bigger picture of what's really happening here. Because if all relationships in our life are mirrors, right? Other people mirror to us the kind of love that we believe that we deserve. The level of love that we accept from other people reflects the level of love we believe that we deserve. We accept the love that we believe we deserve, right? And we might invest in it in the name of potential, right? We might say, well, but they might change, or things might be different, or they might be able to be the person that I know that they can be one day. But what you're accepting in the moment is less than what you deserve, right? You're accepting where they're at. That's the level of love you believe that you deserve. And a lot of times when we believe that we're inherently unworthy or not good enough for love, because that's what we've been taught, a lot of times we learn through early childhood experiences, because most of us are being raised by unhealed people, we learn that we are inherently unworthy and undeserving. So we do what we have to overcompensate. And for a lot of people, especially women, and you do not have to be female to resonate with this, but a lot of people learn, in order for me to be worthy, I must self-sacrifice. I must be, more than I am, and provide more of myself and pour into everybody that, is in my life in order to be worthy of even the bare minimum. So we give so much of ourselves to the people who we care about, because we think that if we're not giving every single part of ourselves and then some to them, that we're not going to be worthy and deserving of the love that we ultimately desire. And so this connection is not in alignment with the love that you deserve. And that is why Spirit is pulling this connection into separation, is so you can align further with what it is that you do deserve. Now, this person obviously deserves love too. Everybody does. Everybody is inherently worthy. But we eventually have to take responsibility for how we show up and love ourselves, so that we can change how we're showing up for other people, right? Your wounding is not your fault. Your trauma is not your fault. Their trauma is not their fault, right? All the things that you've been through that have made you, act in certain ways, and, whether you're this person or you, it's not your fault. But at some point it does become your responsibility, because the ways that you treat others when you are, an adult, that is your responsibility. And, looking at, blaming it on your trauma, blaming it on your triggers and all of these things, that is manipulation, because that's essentially saying you are deserving of being treated poorly because of the things that I've been through. And that is not true. Okay, Pisces, you deserve so much love and so much consistency and good treatment, regardless of, your empathy for other people's experience. Meaning that you can have empathy for other people, you can unconditionally love them for what they've been through, but that does not mean you tolerate less. Unconditional love does not equal unconditional tolerance. And I feel, Pisces, as if you have gotten really good at unconditional tolerance. And I think that that's what's needing to be addressed, is this belief that you have to hurt in order to be loved. Because love doesn't hurt. Love challenges you and it pushes you to grow, but it shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't cut you to your core, when you're dealing with healthy, aligned love. So I feel like this is almost kind of addressing the type of love that you have been used to in your life, and therefore have been attracting because of what you're used to, so that you can attract the type of love that aligns with what you do deserve, because you deserve a lot more than what this person is currently able to provide. And, we have to invest in people for who they are today. Change is possible. People change. I changed. Okay. Change is possible. But it also, it's also rare. Not everybody changes. A lot of people just stay the same, because change is really, really hard, and getting honest with yourself is really, really hard. So I feel like there's, spirits trying to help you understand this in a very different way to help you as you move forward, so that you can align further with what it is that you do truly deserve. We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into this. You have patience with mirroring. I'm going to look at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information on that is in the description box or caption below. Thank you so much, Pisces, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Pisces.